Yes, it's the new album from Witch Vomit called Funeral Sanctum. It's coming out today, April 5th on $20 spin. As you can tell, I'm quite happy here. It's always nice to see a band coming off a major hit, still on a journey as opposed to making a layover and photocopying the last one to just do financially pretty well for themselves. I could pick at some minor things, but I honestly can't really think of enough criticism to warrant its own section in the review. Outside of, I don't like it more than Buried Deep in a Bottomless Grave, they didn't really miss any marks here, especially since I like it in a different way, which I think is actually the best one could hope for based on the difficulty of following something up like that. I guess I'll save my bile for that Deicide record or something and just give this a 4 out of 5 Icy Blue Skulls. Boom. But that's not the end of the review. Of course, I have more records for you, and I have 4 more records for you because this April might be the most stacked month I've ever seen in my time at Banger. So 4 more records. There's more over on the Patreon. And if you want even more, you can follow me at twitch.tv/metalcomedy. Come by Sundays. I look at every single metal album coming out 1 month in the future, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. But shoutouts. First up, we've got some more Black and Death of the more harsh Black and Death variety. It's on Sentient Rune. You know what it sounds like, and it sounds good. It's Diabolic Oath, Oracular Hexations. You've got Funeral Leech, The Illusion of Time on Carbonized Records, bringing some great death doom. So that's keeping with the vibe of what we've been going. Continuing to keep with the vibe of what we've going is Bill Wiss, Hamelin on Northern Silence Productions. That's some great black metal. So you've got kind of all the parts of Witch Vomit spread out into 3 records. And just in case that's too much of the same and you want to step out, we've got some cool sludge in Horndal's Head Hammer Man on Prosthetic Records. All of those come out today. I am sorry. That's a lot of money, and it's just going to get worse. Yes, it's the new record from Tyr called Battle Ballads, coming out this Friday, April 12th on Metal Blade Records. This was a very unfortunate trip down memory lane for me. I got sucked in by a single sounding like the Tyr that I knew and loved, and instead I got a very confused, disjointed, and I must stress, basic record. Everything is just so simple, and I don't know why. Basic, it's boring, it's dumbed down, it's simple, there's not a lot going on here, and I don't know why. Viking Metal sells, they did not need to do this. It's just a completely toothless wolf gnawing at my ankle. So I'll bet it to be like, hey, has anyone heard this? I'm going to see if I can find some posts, take the temperature, and I found a couple fans who had gotten the record at shows, and they expressed disappointment with it as well. These are people, they're very bored. I have 3 shoutouts for you. The first is a Japanese anime power metal band. I don't know. It's not quite on Bandcamp yet because you know how Japan releases things, but the album comes out on the 10th, so I imagine it'll go up then. They're called Elfson. The album's called Zenith. It's an independent release. It found it on my stream, twitch.tv/metalcomedy. As a reminder, I find all my records there. It was a lot of fun. I was pretty happy. And then 2 Metal Monthly alumni are also releasing albums this week. Heavy Temple are releasing Garden of Heathens on Magnetic Eye, and Vulture are releasing Sentinels on Metal Blade Records. 2 awesome records. Of course, I'm talking about things I want to talk about. It's the new album from Antichrist Siege Machine called Vengeance of Eternal Fire. It's coming out April 19th, which is next Friday on Profound Lore Records. There were some scheduling issues, but this is my most anticipated album of the year, so there's no thrilled. So far, they've got a real album of the year nomination coming from me, and unless something comes out that just totally surprises me, y'all are gonna have a tough time stealing this spot. Woof. I love the record. 4.5 out of 5 skulls with that bumper sticker on them. Thus, we come to shoutouts time. I actually only have 1 shoutout for you this week because, look, I'm making a lot of videos right now, and you're milking me for all the bands I got. My teats are sore, but regardless, I have 1 band that I think goes with the vibe that we've got here. Replicant Infinite Mortality on our pals Transcending Obscurity, coming out today, April 12th, so it can tide you over. It's just some weird, technical, strange death metal, so there's a nice record for you. Necrot released Lifeless Birth last Friday, April 12th on Tank Crimes. I guess this comes down to how much do you love old school death metal. If you're all about the stuff and don't need a record cut with anything to pique your interest, then this is an easy buy. There's a difference between playing it safe and just playing it well, and Necrot play the style real well. There's enough new on here to justify a new album, and it's all up to the high standards set by the previous two hits. And if you need that last little extra bump, that super unique cover by Marlon Van Hasteren ain't hurting things neither. So I give it 4 out of 5 classic Overkill skulls, because there ain't nothing wrong with a classic, baby. We don't always need to put a twist on it. Of course, I have 4 more records for you because, as I said, April is absolutely stacked. So this Friday, April 19th, when these release, make sure you pick up Utter Tomb, Nebulas of Self-Desecration on Pulverized Records. That's just some more straight-ahead death metal. Fantastic. Mare is releasing And the Universe Keeps Silent on Transcending Obscurity. That's some blackened death metal. Nuclear Tomb is releasing Terror Labyrinthian on An Everlasting Spew. That's some, like, thrashy death metal. And The Great Bong Ripper is back with Empty on the Great Barrier Records. That'll mix things up for you. That's some sludge, get you out of the death metal zone. So those are 4 more records.
This week, I am reviewing the 3rd studio album from an extremely promising Dutch dark rock band, Duel, from their brand new studio album. It's called The Shape of Fluidity, and it's out now via Prophecy Productions. The Shape of Fluidity is a contemplative, dark, depressive record, and it is an absolute triumph for Duel that completely synthesizes all the best elements of their sound. It's extremely well produced. It sounds great. It's got lots of sing-alongs. On album 3, Duel has made their strongest record yet. For all those reasons, it's getting 4.5 skulls out of 5 here on Overkill Reviews. Shout out. Okay, we're going to talk about my favorite albums from 2024 so far, and there are a handful. First up, here's one of the only trad metal bands in a hot minute who has truly excited me. They are called Noor, and they are Canadian, and their debut is called Mother's Guilty Pleasure Part 1. This is really coming out of the left field. It's spectacular power trad thrash with massive vocals. Recommended if you like Cauldronborn, Queensryche, Crimson Glory, but more aggressive and crunchy. Ignore the album cover. I don't like it. It doesn't make sense to me, but that's fine. The music rips. Next up, a big shout out to Norwegian weirdo technical death thrashers Sovereign, who released their debut Altered Realities earlier this year via Dark Descent Records. Extremely consistent record label. If you put Nocturnus, Morbid Saint, and Voivod in a blender, you would maybe get something close to Sovereign. Goddamn, this album rules. Last but not least, the mighty Eye Voidhanger released the debut full-length by French doom outfit Dionysiac earlier this year. Diagonos features absolutely manic, unorthodox doom metal. This is pure, true doom, like sans the repetition and sameness that perpetually plagues the genre. I know doom can be a hyper-repetitive genre, and this band goes off on a zag constantly, and it's great.
Shit sounds dark as fuck. From Dawn of Ashes' latest album, Reopening the Scars, which dropped today, April 19th, on Metropolis Records. Throughout the 10 songs, Christoph Bathory flexes his songwriting skills and creates a dense and diverse listening experience that takes us through many different emotions while weaving through the dark and twisted world of Dawn of Ashes' latest album. Therefore, I'm giving Reopening the Scars a solid 4.5 skulls out of 5 here on Overkill Reviews. First up, I got one of my frequent musical collaborator bros from Texas at Sadzilla's nerdcore side project. It's called Sanbroku, who just released their debut album, One Last Wish, on March 22nd independently. The album consists of 8 tracks, all themed after Dragon Ball Z. What's a really cool, unique thing about the Sanbroku project is every single song, whether it's themed after Dragon Ball Z or Naruto or any other anime, the songs are all originally written and sung by Sadzilla. Then he uses AI to modify his voice to sound exactly like the English voice of the anime character he's singing about. As you may know, with the recent passing of Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama, if you're a huge fan of anime like me, you might really like this album. Second up, I bring you the over-the-top symphonic death metal band, the Monolith Death Cult, with their latest album, The Demon Who Makes Trophies of Men, which dropped on April 5th on Human Detonator Records. The album consists of 8 songs of symphonic death metal savagery akin to the likes of Septic Flesh, along with, interestingly enough, some periodic moments of, I guess you could call it parody perhaps. The music is super well composed and gives the vibe of Septic Flesh or bands like Flesh God Apocalypse, mixed with some of the hilariousness of Austrian Death Machine. Lastly, I got the one-man project Ghost, not to be confused with Ghost, with his latest album, Prophecy, which came out on March 8th on Metal Blade Records. I got to review Ghost last time here on Overkill Reviews with their album, Rites of Love and Reverence, which was one of the first time he really started doing vocals on his album. After that album, he scored an 8-bit video game soundtrack. It's really cool, called The Texorcist, where you play a priest and you have to like exorcise demonic spirits. If you're a fan of OG video games, you might enjoy it. The 13 songs within the album has plenty of atmosphere, a variety of instrumentals between dark wave to industrial, metal, noise to boss battle music, and a mix of vocals between gothic singing and black metal screams.
Yes, I'm talking about the new album by Deicide. It's called Banished by Sin, and it came out today, April 26th on Reigning Phoenix Music. So this was a weird one. A lot of me going at Glenn for seemingly no reason, but it just seems like there's nothing driving this record. So what do I drive my review with? It's far from the worst thing Deicide has put out. Very far. But it's also very far from the best thing Deicide has put out. Very far. I get it. It seems like I have no respect for genre founders, and that is rude, and I don't appreciate metal history, but like, to me, respect isn't a gun license. It's not something we just hand out and never take away, no matter how much it seems like we should. It's a driver's license. You earn it, but if you get drunk and wrap your car around a tree, you gotta earn it back. And a real down-the-plate death metal record in a long line of real down-the-plate death metal records isn't enough to get back in my good books. And maybe I'm just being a contrarian to be a contrarian, but doesn't that seem in the spirit of Glenn Benton? He made this album cover because he thought you wouldn't like it. And I don't. And it's a very middle-of-the-road record. So let's give it very middle-of-the-road. 2.5 out of 5 AI-generated monstrosities. Just kidding. No, fuck AI art, even for a gag. Please put some nice skulls there, Daniel. Or Tommy. I'm not sure who's editing this one. Oh, wait, I'm not waving bye. We still have shoutouts to do. But let's put down the bottle of Haterade and pick up a bottle of Yaterade. Anyways, here's 3 records I'm excited about and enjoy if you'd like death metal that I think is very good. Exhumation, Metal Monthly alumni are releasing Masters Persona on Pulverized Records. Beholder are releasing Dualism on Avant-Garde Music. That's some Quebecois black metal. Hey, yay, Canada. And God, I'm not gonna read this. Oh, God. Dystopia are releasing Der Verboten Diepte Veldslag op Durand van der World on Immortal Frost Productions. That's also black metal. It's from the Netherlands, and now I know why Squizgar says the Dutcher scum, because I can't believe you made me read that. Well, they didn't make me. I just like the record. Yes, you saw me wearing the shirt in Metal Monthly, a little sneak preview that I was going to be reviewing the new Morgul Blade album. It's called Heavy Metal Wraiths. It came out Friday, April 26th on No Remorse Record, and it's what I'm talking about now. So a minor error to an otherwise great record. Well, I've got to dock some points. It's nothing the old skip button can't fix, and the actual songs they play all rip, and I wouldn't cut any of them. Plus, holy hell, look at that James Buscema cover on this thing. It's perfection. Someone airbrushed that thing on the side of a van ASAP. See, Glenn, look what a good album cover can do for a... Sorry. Morgul Blade are rad, and I think this is another strong showing from them with a great lineup. This year has felt a little light on great heavy metal so far, but these Wraiths ride in to save the day, which is actually traditionally not what Wraiths do. 4 out of 5 Balrog skulls. Love it. But of course, to close things out, we have shout out, or I should say shout out, because I've done a lot of videos this month and I've just been absolutely drained of shout outs. I do have a great one for you. They're label mates. So Dolmen Gate, Gateways of Eternity, No Remorse Records also came out April 26th. Yeah, they're label mates with Morgul Blade. So you like Morgul Blade, you're probably going to like this epic heavy metal record. There you go. Little bonus. Let me know in the comments down below. You've been jamming Morgul Blade. Did this cover cleanse your eyes from looking at that Deicide atrocity? How you feeling? What are you doing? Like, comment, subscribe, whole rigmarole. See you on the next one, gang.